Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 17 of the Kingdom Builders podcast. And I have with me again, Jolo.
Yep, we're going for that three-peat.
All right, so for this episode, we kind of talked about what are some things that we could talk about, for this little series that we're doing together. And he made mention of just the life of Peter and how it's like how we can look at his life and just compare it to ours and just the similarities and just how many of the accounts, just were like, yeah, that was me. That was me, Once you start reading just through his life through the scriptures. So, Jolo, why do the biblical accounts of Peter stand out to you?
Yeah, I think Peter's just kind of always been my favorite, disciple since I was, a child. It's weird to say you have a favorite disciple, but...
No, I get it. When I watched as a kid, I watched the Greatest Heroes and Legends, the animated Bible accounts, I guess, the cartoons. He was my favorite.
Yeah, it's I think the big reason was, when we go on vacation to Pigeon Forge, there used to this, old biblical theater. And I remember going there and watching the one about Jesus was getting arrested in Gethsemane, and the guy who plays Peter pulls out the sword and cuts off the guy's ear. And I remember being a kid, being really young, seeing that, being well, that guy's cool. It's you grow older, and it's that was not so cool of him, but it's seeing him pull out the sword, I was I like that guy. And so I think it kind of started there, a little bit of bias, but then growing older and maturing and looking at Peter so much is Peter is so outspoken. He's probably the disciple you hear speak or reference to the most in the Gospels, because he's always saying something, which is a lot like us, just talking too much and not doing a whole lot of thinking. That's one reason why I like him, is we see ourselves. I feel we can see ourselves in him a lot, and there's a lot of things you look at what Peter did, and people are oh, look how Peter was bad in this, but it's there's some things I think we'll go into. I'll talk about well, some of it's good and the bad. We don't realize it's good in those stories, but then also it's look at how you completely flip it, and it's there's a lot of great things Peter did that shows his faithfulness.
Yeah, and I know we kind of touched on this already, but do you ever see yourself living or acting like Peter?
Oh yeah, all the time. I think I will go more in depth of walking in the water,
right.
But it's you start out in faith, but it's you start drowning with everything around you. Yeah.
So why don't you just show us what we can learn from Peter and his life?
Yeah. So the first thing I want to point out is just kind of Peter's calling to be a disciple of Christ. In Matthew 4, 18 to 22 depicts him, his brother Andrew, and James and John being called. And what I really like is when Jesus walks by the sea, he tells them to cast a net, and they catch the fish. And Jesus says, "Follow me, and I'll make you fishers of men." And one of my favorite things is they immediately left their nets and followed him. It's just have that immediately underlined, where it's imagine we don't even do that. It's at all. It's these guys are fishermen. This guy walks by, tells them to cast a net. They pull it in, and this guy just says, "Follow me," and they immediately just left everything and just followed him. It's just left straight from there.
Yeah.
And it's so, just immediately, without even without any hesitation is what the Bible is implying here. It's how often do we hesitate to do the littlest thing and give that up to God? Where it's these guys immediately followed Jesus with that one tiny interaction.
Yeah, that's what mine says. 4:20, and straightway left their nets and followed him.
Yeah, and that's what just you see that a lot of times something happens immediately, where it's you see Jesus' miracles, where it's immediately they were healed because of their faith, and it's every time it says immediately, kind of how I talked a couple episodes ago, of the but God or but whatever in the Bible, is just really means something. I think that and immediately is every time I see those, it's something that really stands out to me, or it's shows how great their faith is to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the next thing look into is Matthew 8:18, 18 through Matthew 8:18 through 22. I have a section for this. It's called the cost of discipleship, and it's this doesn't mention Peter, but this is what Peter did. He became a disciple. 18 through 22 reads, "And when Jesus saw great multitudes about him, he gave a command to depart to the other side. Then a certain scribe came and said to him, 'Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go.' And Jesus said to him, 'Foxes have holes, and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head.' Then another of his disciples said to him, 'Lord, let me first go and bury my father.' But Jesus said to him, 'Follow me, and let the dead bury their own dead.'" So, you could break this down more I've heard people talk about like the daring to bed. It's like it was a longer process back then than it is now, so which is like one reason why. But it's just like think about like how we talk about that immediately. Like these people they're like they want to follow Christ, but it's like they want to do something first. Where it's like you saw all the fishermen, they didn't do that. They immediately left it and followed him. And it's like they are living out that cost, which is like something I think we a lot of times kind of forget that disciples did. Like we sit there and look at disciples, but it's like when we look at it, it's like remember what the disciples did. It's like something that's so hard to think about. It's like they left everything. It's like especially because like it's reference how also Peter was the only one out of them married. It's like this guy had a wife, just left her to follow Christ, and it's like it's something hard to think about. And it's like I mean he was leaving. I feel like personally I'd say that's more than all the other people were. But look at Peter, he still left that to follow Christ in a life that I mean just followed him everywhere he went, and a life that ended up having him martyred for the Christian faith. But I mean without a doubt he immediately left and just lived that out.
Right. Yeah. It's a hard thing, especially in our, how would you say it, our, where we have so much nowadays. Like our homes are overflowing. You know, as a kid, you know, I had all these toys. You know, those toys meant everything to me as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, like, and now I'm an adult. You know, I have all these things and all these excuses is what they are. You know, why I can't live for Christ. Why I can't simply talk to somebody when I'm walking across the campus green.
Yeah.
You know, we make these excuses of why we can't just simply. I would say the thing I was thinking of was just leaving our comfort zone behind.
Yeah.
You think about that, like we just read a scripture earlier that you know God, when we endured trials, that's times where God is maturing us spiritually. You know, and I think being able to leave behind our comfort zones, like these guys left behind their livelihood, you know, of fishing. Yeah. Being able to do that, it is definitely a sign of spiritual maturity, but it's not an easy thing.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, these guys have a livelihood, and they just like left that. Where it's like you talk about like the Son of Man has no place to lay his head. These guys are living as homeless people for 2 or 3 years of like Jesus' ministry. It's like, and they just immediately did it. Didn't leave as well. It's like they could have started and been like, oh man, I didn't realize what I signed up for and left. But no, they obviously realized something was special about Jesus that first time they saw him, and they just never left aside from that.
Yeah. So where are you taking us next?
Yeah. I don't have much of a structure here, so this isn't going to be like chronologically. I'm just going to kind of jump around to the stuff I've written down. I'm going to go to Matthew 15:15. There isn't a whole lot in depth of this. It's just something I like that helps prove how Peter's like us. 15:15 says, "Then Peter answered and said to him, 'Explain this parable to us.'" And just like, Peter's just asking to explain it because Peter's like, yeah, I don't know what you just said. And it's like, look at us. It's like we also read this Bible so much. Like we just talked about with James 3:2 with like the perfect man being like, we don't really know what that means. It's like, we need the Holy Spirit to explain that to us, to guide us. And it's like, yeah, something that's like, we just really need that. We need to rely on that. Just being led by that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then I'm just going to go like just the back a chapter to the big one that I really like that I love thinking about Peter, and it's about Jesus walking on this water. So, obviously, very famous story. If you probably spent a day in the church as a child, you probably heard about in Sunday school Jesus walking on the water. And of course, obviously, Jesus walks out to disciples during the storm in the water. And Peter's like, if it's you, Lord, command me to come out to you. And he's like, yeah, come to me. And, Peter, obviously, he gets out, he walks on water a little bit, and then drowns. Yeah. And so whenever you hear people talk about this, they always talk about how Peter drowned. And it's like, oh, Peter was like out there walking, and then like he got overcame by all like the waters, the waves, and the storm, and then he started drowning. And then everyone's like points it to Jesus, like how he reaches down, he saves him. It's like so true. Yeah. Don't take away that from it at all. I think that's such a great message of like how Jesus and that's another one where it says immediately. Jesus immediately stretched out his hand and saved him. Another like one of those immediatelys that I love. And like he says, "Oh, you have little faith. Why did you doubt?" And it's like, yeah, Peter lacked faith when he started drowning. But then again, you have all the disciples in the boat. Who was the one who even got out of the boat to begin with? Like, I remember being a kid, like hearing this
Yep.
people talk about this, and I was like, even as like being younger, I was like, we walked on the water a little bit, didn't he? It's like
Yeah.
no one else even got out of the boat to begin with. It's
Yep.
like even if he got out of the boat and like immediately sank, it's like, I mean, obviously his faith wasn't there to walk on the water, but it's like he got out of the boat.
Yeah.
And then I think we do like discredit the fact that like he was walking on the water, like he was walking with that perfect faith to Christ, and it's like then he wavered, which I think is one of the reasons why I talk about like Peter being a lot like us. It's like we see ourselves really walking in faith, and like either something happens or we see ourselves stray away, or we start drowning in like things of this world. But it's like I think this is like something about Peter is like, I mean, this man, I mean, I just can't get over. He got out of the boat. It's like if I was in the middle of a storm, like a huge storm, where like they're all like scared about like dying because how big the waves are, and it's like this man just gets out in the like middle of like the strongest storm you might see. It's like he got out of the boat. It's like, would any of us get out of the boat? It's like look at our own lives, and it's like how we just talked about like not wanting to leave your comfort zone. It's like I'm not getting out of the boat. It's like I like my boat.
There you go.
I like where I am. It's like I don't want to get out of my boat. And it's like, I think we should be like Peter. It's like, just get out of the boat. Like, that's the first step. And then you just got to keep walking in faithfulness. And it's like, we probably will end up see ourselves drowning, but Jesus will save us and pull us back out and like lead us into where we're supposed to go. But it's like something I think we could really learn from Peter is getting out of the boat. It's like, because people always try to learn from him lacking faith there. But I think we should learn from both of starting with the faith that he had. Like, we should learn to start walking with the faith he had, but then we should just learn to continue that and like learn of like how to not let the world come to us how he did there. But oftentimes we see exactly our lives play out exactly how Peter is right here, which is why I like Peter so much. Like I said, it's like he's almost like the most like humanized or personalized one of the disciples. Not like, I mean, they're all human and man, but it's like you see like these accounts of Peter, I feel like more than anyone else, where it's like you look at something Peter did and it's like, yeah, that's me. That's me being Peter.
Yeah. That's definitely one of those passages I think about often. Probably like the pinnacle account in like his knowing who Peter is in the scriptures. Mm-hmm. It's a great passage, and it was brought to life very well. You've probably seen The Chosen and how they brought that to life, dude. I teared up because that's probably how it went, like very very close to how it actually went, and just like and putting yourself in Peter's shoes, you know how like so many times we'll get like almost like a boost of courage, from God to do the right thing, but then we let our human side just allow us to doubt and to fall when all we had to do was keep walking, like you may mention, Peter was doing well. He got out of the boat. He was walking on water, and I think something else we can take away from that is we know that Christ is all like as long as we walk towards Christ, he's always going to be there. Yeah, I mean he's going to be there regardless. And he's going to be there to pull us out when we do fall. But, of course, we don't want to fall. Yeah. But we're going to.
Yeah, I think both those messages are great things to be. We should, like, combine those of, like, I think that's what I was like. Of course, I love when people talk about, like, Peter drowning and Jesus saving and, like, that we shouldn't lack faith. But it's like, I just really wish we'd also mention, like, the faith to start with. I think those are great things to put together where it's like, you look at this aspect and you look at this aspect and you bring them together to be like, this is like, we should call on Jesus when we're falling, but it's like, we don't want to fall. We want to start walking in faith. But like, we realize we will fall because we're not perfect and we are, man. It's like, just all those things. It's such a great story. Like looking at it in its fullness is something that like, I love to do about that. Yeah. Yeah. So like moving on from that one, just kind of go to, if I can read my own writing, Matthew 16:13, where it's just like page over and you see, I mean, literally the title of it is Peter Confesses Jesus is Christ. And I mean, it's just, I mean, there's not like a whole like lot to take out of it. I mean, there probably is if you look into it, but like the main reason I did it is just the fact that like Peter is confessing Jesus Christ. It's like you walk around talk to people. It's like, I think the most important thing about us is that we are Christians and that Jesus is our Christ. And it's like, we should be confessing that to everybody. Like, we love to talk about ourselves, but like, why not talk about the Christ who has saved us? Just as like Peter is doing here, where it's like, he is telling people about like, he wants to tell people about Christ, and like he fully confesses to Jesus that like he is the Christ.
Water break.
Yeah, because I mean, it's just, you look at it and it's, but who do you say I am? And Simon Peter answered and said, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. I mean, like I said, like Peter's the one you see talk a lot. He's the one who answers. And And it's about like there's some, it seems like he answers really quickly, like because he's always answering first. And it's like might not be a whole lot of thought behind some of the things he says, but it's like here it's like maybe there's not a whole lot of thought behind it because that's coming straight from like his heart, him knowing Jesus Christ. And I think that's just something that's like he just immediately answers like, who do you say I am? It's like compared to these other people, and he just like you are the Christ, the Son of the living God.
Yeah. That's a wonderful thing. You know, you see who he really is at a moment like that. You know, Christ threw that question on him. You know, if we put ourselves in his shoes, how would we answer?
Yeah.
You know, would we answer with such faith? You know, with the confidence of knowing that you are Jesus Christ, the Son of God. Would we answer that way?
Yeah.
I would hope so.
Yeah. I mean, it just also shows like Peter's love for the Lord. I mean, just like how he's the one that got about he's the one that wanted to walk to the Lord. He's the one here confessing him as Christ. You'll see him like talking about Christ later about like serving him, serving his sheep, and just like how much he like, and like even like the Garden of Gethsemane where like he cuts off the soldier's ear.
Yeah,
it's like, well, he's trying to protect his Christ. Like that wasn't the right thing to do, but it's like you realize it was out of like, I think that's like the God also spirit behind it, like kind of like with the walking on the water. It's like he does
he had
obviously
to go do
love
his spirit, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. He was a fighter. Like he loved his Lord. He's trying to protect him. And it's like that wasn't the thing that was supposed to be done there. That wasn't the right way to go about it. But it's like at least like you can see that his heart behind it is that like he does love his Lord.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then the next one I'll look at is kind of like one of the like errors of Peter that we look at. It's in 18:21. This is the very famous where it says, then Peter came to him and said, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him? Up to 7 times? I just look at that. I remember like always looking at that and just being like, man, Peter, who in the world has only done you wrong 7 times? It's like, I need so much more forgiveness 7 times. It's like, he sets a bar. It's almost like he's trying to set it high. It's like, that's what I feel like. It's like up to 7 times. Like, it's almost like how I feel like whenever I imagine him saying that, I imagine him saying it's like it's a crazy number.
Yeah.
And it's like, I looked at it and I'm like, man, you're setting the bar so low. It's like, that is not high at all. And, you know, Jesus answers with some people says 77 times. Mine says 70 times 7, which is, I mean, it's kind of null because it just means like, it's so much more. It's like basically unending forgiveness that you should have. You can never run out of forgiveness because God never runs out of forgiveness for us.
Right.
It's just, he's just taking Peter's number and just like trying to make it a whole lot bigger, showing Peter it's like, no, our forgiveness is like on just a never ending scale rather than just being like trying to count people, the amount of times you forgive someone, just be like, oh, hope it looks like you ran out. It's like, we never run out of God's forgiveness.
Yeah.
Why should people run out of ours?
Literally. That's a good point. Yeah, many times we think, well, what they've done is just too bad for me to forgive them. They wronged me horribly. Well, you think of how often we wrong God. You know, we may mention in a previous episode just how God is holy. He's a holy God. He's righteous, you know, and anytime we do a shortcoming, like we fall short and we sin, it grieves him. You know, it hurts him to see us fall short because he loves us so much. And he has that forgiveness for us, and how he has that forgiveness for us, we'll never understand it. We won't. Like, maybe I mean, one day in heaven, it'll truly be made known unto us. But you know, it's a wild thought to just think of the mercy he has for us.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I mean, going on off that was like, I mean, just we look at Peter, it's like it's just so hard to believe it's like 7 times. I'm like, man, Peter, it's like, come on now. Yeah, and then like you go off that into another. Obviously, probably the most famous bad thing we see about Peter is denying Jesus.
Right.
It's like in verse 26, Jesus predicts Peter's denial, and I didn't write down when he actually denied him.
Chapter 26, 69 is when it starts.
Oh yeah, I do have that written down. What am I doing? Yeah. So you see, Peter just denies Jesus. I mean, we won't explain it too much because everyone knows this pretty much. Where it's like he denied him 3 times, and you see after he does it, he's like starts cursing and like it's like he's that untamable tongue. It's like he's fully like let that go. Or it's like that untamable tongue that denied Jesus, that untamable tongue started cursing after he did it, and he's like, I do not know the man. It's like because how we talk about it's like that it was that when that third person asked him, he started cursing, and it's like
that's what it was.
He's separate. It's like him trying to kind of separate himself from God. It's like it's one thing. It's like people like to overlook cursing. Cursing is definitely a sin. It's definitely something we shouldn't do. And just like he's saying these things, kind of trying to show like his like, we talk about faith and works too, where it's like he's trying to show his actions are saying that he doesn't actually know God. And at that moment, he pretty much didn't. He actually probably was not lying because he's denying Christ. It's like at that moment, like he was really fully turned away from God as if he didn't know him.
Yeah.
And then you see that the rooster crows just as Jesus predicted. And like, it also, you see how Peter saved. It's like, obviously, like he's being worked on. It's like he's convicted immediately and just gets down like and weeps. And like you see him later, like ask Jesus for that forgiveness whenever Jesus is risen. And it's like, of course, he's forgiven. Just we talk about that forgiveness. He forgives him. But it's like, we often see ourselves be like Peter even in this, where it's like, it might not be as extreme as that, but it's like, how many times do we do something or it's like, we're in a situation where it's like, even like when we could talk about Christ, where it's like, maybe someone's like asking us what we're going to do tonight. It's like, I'm going to a Bible study, but it's like, you're kind of scared to admit that, where it's like, I'm just going to like hang out with some friends or something. And it's like, just tell them like what you're doing. It's like, don't be ashamed of the gospel. Don't deny that you're trying to live for Christ.
And you know how Peter tried to blend in there so they wouldn't be like, hey, this is a disciple. We should probably do something to him, you know?
Yeah.
Because he was afraid, you know. How often do we do that around different friend groups or, you know, around different people who aren't believers or who don't take their faith as serious as they should? You know, many times we let our guard down just to fit in. And it's the wrong way to go about things. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, and then I think I'll probably just do one last one since it's kind of getting a short time to look at. It's going to be John 13, where you just look at, this is a section about Jesus washing feet. Once again, a very popular passage to look at, but and like I think we see a lot. People talk a lot about how like Peter says you should never wash my feet. So, and let me see, in verse 7, Jesus answered and said to him, "What I am doing you do not understand now, but you will know after this." Peter said to him, "You shall never wash my feet." Jesus answered him, "If I do not wash you, you have no part with me." Simon Peter said to him, "Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head." So it's just, I mean, looking at this, it's like, I mean, obviously we had the famous, like, looking at the feet where it's like, these people walk around in sandals all day and the dirt, and it's like, imagine how nasty they are, and look at the God in flesh is out here washing their feet. It's like, all that, like, great message, but like I said, we're focusing on Peter, where it's like, how often are we like Peter, where it's like, our God, Jesus came to be a servant, and like, our God provides for us. He wants to do things for us. But so oftentimes where it's like, I'm not going to let God do this. It's like, I need to do this to myself. It's almost like we think like we think he's like too worthy to do something. I think is how we think of it. But it's like, when you think of it that way, you're kind of thinking he's not worthy of doing the small things. It's like small thing or maybe dirty thing of washing feet. It's like Peter's trying to say Jesus should not be doing that because he's too high above that. But like, no, our God is the God who like, nothing too big, nothing too small. He's there in every single moment where it's like, that's what, like, when I think of that, I like think of me being Peter, like, oh, I won't pray about this because maybe something dumb to pray about. It might be something too small. It's like, I don't need to lift that up to God, or like something else where it's like you won't come and still want to bring God into it because like you almost feel like it's disrespectful to like put his, like, look at something small with that, where it's like, it's not. It's like, you're actually like, you're technically calling him unworthy of even the small things when he's worthy of everything. It's like, just because something small doesn't mean we shouldn't look to him, we shouldn't pray to him. And so I think that's like exactly here. And then you see Jesus tell him like, if you don't let me wash you, you have no part with me. And like then Simon Peter's immediately like, yep, wash all of me. He's like, I want to be fully with you. It's like, once again, that's his love for the Lord, his love for Christ, where it's like he wants fully to be a part of Christ. And so I think that's, I mean, just we look at, I mean, you see him change immediately, and it's like a lot of times we don't do that. But I mean, especially that verse 8, where it's like you see how he says, "You should never wash my feet." That's something I really look at. It's just like, how oftentimes am I not letting Jesus like wash my feet? I'm not letting Jesus work in my life because I'm too prideful, or I think he's shouldn't be working here. When it's like he's working in every aspect of my life. Yeah,
that's a great thing to think about. And guys, we're gonna wrap up this episode now, but just when you really do, just lay it out just how you did. You did a great job just of how we can see ourselves as Peter, just of the way he lived, you know, and how we can compare his life to ours, you know, and his walk with Christ to our walk with Christ, you know. And something else, you didn't really mention it, but I kind of thought about was just the disciples in general. you know, they were human just as we are.
Yeah.
They were sinners saved by grace, just as a Christian is. You know, they were just like us. They still fell short, and you think about it, they walked with Jesus Christ. They were right there with him, and yet there were many times when they would still lose sight of him. Mm-hmm. You know, you really, like, he was right there, and they would still lose sight of him, and that he was that he was truly the Son of God. You know, they would question him. You know, the religious leaders, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, like they would question Christ. They didn't believe he was the Son of God in the first place. But like, what if we were there? You know, and Christ was right in front of us. What if Christ was right in front of us right now? You know, you hear people say many times, like, well, if Jesus was here and if I could see him, I'd believe him. You know?
Yeah.
Well, these men did. When Christ lived on this earth, many people saw him. And also many people still refuse to believe in him.
Yeah.
You know? And even the disciples, as I was trying to say, like, they were believers in him, but would still lose sight of him, you know, would still forget occasionally, like, I'm serving this. This is the Son of God. I'm serving him, you know.
Yeah, and I think especially like looking at that, talking about the disciples like being normal people. It's like, I mean, they were like kind of like the weak in life, where it's like the poor fishermen. You had Matthew, who was a tax collector, so he had money, but it's like everyone hated him for it. And it's like you have all these people that, like, Christ chose those people to follow him rather than other people, and then also those people are the ones who in Acts spread the church everywhere. Is the reason the church grew so much. Is like, you know, Jesus is like, of course, Jesus is the whole foundation of our Christian faith, of what he did, and looking to him. And it's like, but these guys that he chose to invest in and have follow him, like, these are the guys who, like, same guys that we talk about, like, denied him, looked away from him, like, doubted him, but like they still followed him. And it's like, these are the guys Jesus chose to go out and like fully build the church. And they all, I mean, all of them except John ended up being martyred and dying. It's like, these are the guys who took their faith to the complete end as you can take it. Like, they fully lived out this mission. And like we said, like, these same guys, it's like we see ourselves in. It's like they're no different than us. They're not like higher than us. Like, there's a reason he chose very normal people just like us, is because we can do the exact same things that they did.
Yep. We are to have faith just like they did. Yep. Well, guys, this is the end of episode 17 of the Kingdom Builders podcast. Hopefully you're able to take away something from this and maybe able to encourage you to get into the Word on your own time and be able to share this with other people, share the message of Jesus Christ and how we should walk, how we should have faith. So, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. See you next time on another episode of the Kingdom Builders podcast.